It's happening. Detroit just found the hinge that can swing January in our favor. The kind of veteran-caliber edge that turns 3-yard piles into 5-yard statements and buys the quarterback that extra heartbeat when blitzes come hot off the boundary. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report. Here's what I'm going to do for you right now. I'll lay out why the front office circled one precise move instead of chasing noise. I'll break the timeline before the trade buzzer. I'll show the cap math that makes this realistic without wrecking next spring. I'll compare the cost to last year's surgical mid-season deal. And I'll take you into the film room to explain exactly how this would transform our red zone identity and third and medium survival rate. Stay with me to the end because the name, the price, and the ripple effect through the locker room tell one clean story. And once you see it, you'll feel how close this roster is to being bully-proof up front. Look at the board. The trade deadline hits right after the Vikings game in Week 9, coming out of the bye, and the pattern from this GM is crystal no panic buys. Only calculate edges when the market blinks. Last year was a mid-round pick swap scale move for front seven help that covered injuries and kept our season on script. The lesson wasn't go big. It was go precise. Now, where are the thin spots that matter in playoff football? We can talk defensive back. We can talk edge depth. But if you're being honest about how championships get built in Detroit's climate-cold wind, late kicks, frozen hashes, the interior offensive line is the center of gravity. That's body-on-body, leverage, and trust on every short yard that decides field position and mood. The offense is humming because the run-pass marriage has a rhythm. Duo, counter, pin pull, play-action crossers, the recipe works when the pocket is firm at the A and B gaps. If that integrity slips for even a series in December, one bad drive becomes a turnover, and one turnover is a seed of doubt that doesn't belong in a Super Bowl contender. That's exactly why the front office has a file open for one very specific profile, a left-side anchor who doesn't lose reps, doesn't flinch at gains and stunts, and doesn't need help on normal downs. We're talking about an 11-year starter who has been a Pro Bowl mainstay, the kind of technician who wins with independent hands and an iron anchor instead of highlight reel pancakes, a veteran who can moonlight at tackle in emergencies. And this is the door that's cracked open. He's in the final year of his deal with void seasons behind it, which means the financial mechanics can be navigated if both sides decide the timing is right. Before I say his name, feel how this fits our room. Pair that player's poise next to Taylor Decker. Tie it together with Frank Ragno's command at the pivot. And now your left side combo blocks on duo become surgical. Your pins land clean on toss crack. Your screens to the left have timing that pops because the guard can run, locate, and finish without drawing laundry. Your quarterback sets his platform on 2nd and 7 and doesn't see color flash in his peripheral vision. That's not a splash move for social media. That's a boring, grown-up upgrade that wins playoff drives. The price? You're not mortgaging a draft. You're talking about the same neighborhood as last year's tidy swap, a gay 3-pick, maybe a late pick swap sweetener, and the discipline to walk away if someone tries to turn your need into their ransom. The cap? You've got rollover objectives to keep future extensions healthy. So you keep the salary sliced to this season. Let the other club eat their baked-in void paration. And you protect your runway for internal priorities. This only happens when the leverage is mutual and the timeline is short, which is why the next 2 games and the health of our interior matter more than any rumor you read. The risk profile is straightforward. He's 34. There's mileage on the odometer. And ramp up is real, but the counterpoint is the most valuable trait at guard in January isn't youth, it's certainty. And this player's certainty shows up as no losses on base downs. It's how you turn late-season cold fronts into your brand instead of your problem. Here's the reveal. Joel Bitonio. You know the tape. He doesn't need help to set an edge on twist pickup. He doesn't overset against heavy-handed 3-techs, and he doesn't fall off on second contact. He's the veteran mirror image of everything this staff preaches low pad level. Quiet feet, winning the rep in the first half second, and finishing without drama. Slot him in and the left side becomes a trust fund. For Jahmyr Gibbs, that means the aiming point hits on time and the cut read turns from contested to clean. For the quarterback, it's an extra hitch to layer a dig or check it down without a glove on his back. For play action, it's the difference between sell and panic. For short yardage, it's your downhill identity showing up when everybody in the stadium knows what you're about to call. And don't underrate the locker room echo, adding a player whose brand is do your job. Every rep, every week is gasoline on the professionalism fire that this room already burns with. Now, let me make the timeline as simple as a whiteboard. The window is open until the buzzer after Vikings, and this is injury contingent for Detroit. If the interior stays healthy, you bank the cap, stay patient, and dare the league to hold your front. If a starter tweaks something, and your depth is asked to hold the fort in back-to-back cold weather games, you pick up the phone and ask Cleveland whether common sense can beat sentiment. They're not in charity mode, but a 34-year-old guard on an expiring with void seasons is exactly the scenario, where both clubs can say yes without drama. If the cost is a 2026 fifth and a modest swap 2 drafts out, the math works. If someone tries to make you pay like it's a premium edge, you shake hands and walk. That's not fence sitting. That's how contenders protect the window without puncturing the future. On film, the payoff shows in 3 places right away. First, red zone. Duo to the left behind Decker Bitonio Ragnow becomes a permission. Slip to play downhill on 2nd and goal from the 4. Second, 2-minute. Slides and scat protections hold up when defenses send simulated pressures into the B gap. And now your stick's roots can breathe. Third, play action boot opposite. The left guard's initial torque shuts the door on backside chasers and buys a clean. Half roll to hit Laporta on the leak or Amon-Ra on the cross. None of that is theory. It's what stable guards let coordinators call without flinching. Culture-wise, this isn't a tourist. Bitonio's brand is blue-collar and boring in the best way possible. He doesn't need billboards. He needs 65 snaps and a handshake from the running backs coach after the game. He fits the way this team talks about violence and discipline. He's been next to great centers. He's played with mobile quarterbacks and pocket ones. He's handled silent counts in hostile environments. And he understands how to keep a huddle calm when the stadium is vibrating. That's the kind of veteran gravity that doesn't show up on a graphic, but shows up in the 4th quarter when you refuse to blink. If you're asking me for the clean, professional verdict, it's this. The move is real if health forces your hand, and the cost should mirror last year's pick swap tier, nothing more. The cap mechanics are solvable for a 3-month rental. The football payoff is immediate and touches everything you want to be when the weather turns mean. And the risk, while not zero, is exactly the kind you take when you're building for late January, not October headlines. Before I close, I want your read because this channel lives off the pulse of fans who understand the trenches. Would you pull the trigger for Joel Bitonio at a 2026 fifth and a future pick swap if an interior starter goes down? Or do you hold serve and trust the current depth to ride it out? Drop your take below with the package you'd offer and tell me how you deploy the left side in the red zone with that upgrade. My concise analysis is simple. This is a surgical, timeline-driven addition that hardens Detroit's identity where it matters most at a rational price. Without compromising the long-term arc, do it only if the health variable demands it. And if the number stays in the mid-round lane. If you want more of these insider-level breakdowns delivered fast, smash the like, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on alerts so you don't miss a single roster tremor in the next 2 weeks. I'll keep you ahead of the curve and on the right side of the facts every step of the way.